Hey everybody, welcome to your Unpaid Therapist.
Hello, welcome to another episode of your Unpaid Therapist.
I'm not getting paid. I didn't even get a donut.
You are new around here. I am Valery Ortiz.
As always, I am your host, Alikona. She's away, Bradford.
This is your Unpaid Therapist. Chua.
Shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba.
Oh, okay, great.
Hello. Your Unpaid Therapist here again. I'm Valery Ortiz.
And I am Alikona Bradford.
And we're back for another episode of all the things. My favorite, by the way, and I love that this was your idea, was this Never Have I Ever thing. And it started with, and I know we've talked about that we did the Friends season. We were going to do the Never Have I Ever season, but Alikona thought it would be so fun to do this Never Have I Ever segment. And amazing idea, because this is super fun. Yeah, girl. I'm gonna give you your flowers when you deserve them.
I will go ahead and take them.
Take them. So do you want to start? I don't remember who started.
I think you started first last time, so I'm going to do the honors.
Let's go.
Never have I ever had a one-night stand.
Ooh.
Oh,
nah. The fact that you had to think about what is.
Well, no, because I'm like,
now you have to explain. Let's elaborate on this pause. Am I right, listeners and watchers?
No, I say that because, like, you know, when you're like first of all, I wasn't hooking up with nobody in high school.
Y'all hear the stuttering?
No,
I hear it.
Boys didn't like me when I was younger, first of all.
Okay.
But nobody ever wanted to be in a relationship with me when I was younger. So then, does that count as a one night stand if like no one just ever liked me?
You either had a one night stand in your life or you didn't. There's none of the others.
So, but if you're dating, it's not a one night stand.
No, a one night stand is literally you mess around for one night and you never see them again.
Oh no! See, clearly I'm not educated on this stuff. No, I have not. You?
Moving on. Nope.
Okay.
Absolutely
okay,
no. Hard. Very hard no. Okay. Never have I ever been gassy on a first date. This is a good card. No, on a first date, but there has been moments where your stomach's not feeling right after you ate something you probably shouldn't have ate. It's the worst feeling. What about you?
On a first date, no.
Not on a first date. Oh, that's bad.
Wouldn't that be awful?
I guess if it ever happened, it's better on the. I don't know.
Is it?
I was gonna say it's better on the first date. I mean, because it doesn't mean nothing has. It doesn't mean like they knew. It just means.
Okay, so let's say you tooted. Would you blame it on somebody else?
Oh, like that's what that means?
Yeah.
Oh, then I've never done that. Then I've never, no first date, no second, no any dates. Sorry, sound. That messed. That was all. I got too.
She was real excited about those parts, wasn't she?
I was excited that it hadn't happened. So yeah, that's a no for both of us. I'm glad.
Oh my God, this is in the same category.
Oh,
okay.
no.
Never have I ever taken a deuce before an audition or job interview because I was so nervous.
That is funny.
Weren't we supposed to like raise our hand? Or
Yeah,
something
we're
if it's
supposed to raise our
happened?
hand. I guess go if you know.
I mean,
I guess I'm confused.
Okay, so you know it's funny. Why does this require a long explanation? So again, you guys know I used to be a dancer, and there'd be two restrooms, and like anywhere from 100 to 200 people auditioning, and girl, those bathrooms would smell like diarrhea because people be so nervous, and you have flight or fight. Yeah. So when you flight, your body naturally wants to be rid of any heavy extra weight. So it naturally forces you to, like, if you're super nervous or whatever, anxiety, you shit. Yeah. And so everybody, like, before the actual audition, like, you go learn the choreography, and then everyone would be like in line. Like, the line would be so deep right before the audition. And it was so bad.
So were you in line?
I feel like I may have hit the line
You know,
at
that's
some point in my
funny.
life.
I was going to say, I feel like I remember this as a yes in like high school, like before a show, before a play, of being like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Now that you say that. But before that, like an audition or anything like that, I no, not like that.
I've not, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That was a really long-winded answer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Never have I ever had a lap dance by an exotic dancer.
I've never even. Oh, I was supposed to raise my hand. Oh, well, she raised her hand, so I'm gonna let her go first.
Yeah. At my bachelorette.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And it was, by the way, I mean, So it's like Instagram versus reality, right? So it's like Magic Mike versus reality, like, the movie. Like I want Magic Mike the movie, and then you get reality, and you're
Magic
like,
Jed.
you're like, it was hilarious. It was so funny. My girls, a few in particular, Kathy, I'm gonna call you out. You may not ever listen or watch this, but she was the funniest and like made it all worth it. Like she enjoyed it, and just Kathy's laugh, a good friend of mine, is just it's just so contagious. So just for that experience alone, it was awesome. But other than that, I'm like, again, if I have the cast of Magic Mike, like I'm all about that, but not the way I had it. Not some Orlando. Sorry, Orlando. I'm just gonna leave that there and close.
Okay. Funny story. Did for a few seconds, I'm gonna go left field, right, whatever. I knew somebody who was a Chippendales dancer, and he like had a thing for short women, like little people, short women. And so he was like, anytime I ever saw a little person in the crowd, I'd always pull her up to do like cowboy lap dance. I'm like, that is so random, but okay.
Yeah.
But short girl love, right?
All right.
You go to Chippendales, okay?
Yeah, you're from Vegas. I'm sure. I'm like surprised you.
Dude, I have been to Thunder from Down Under, and I was so disappointed because from like 5 miles away, you could tell every single dude is gay. You're like,
I was gonna say something.
Like, this kind of takes away the excitement. When your eyebrows are better plucked than mine, we have an issue.
It's not as exciting.
No.
I mean, but you know what? I can appreciate a good dancer in general,
Oh,
or just the athleticism, or and because you're referring to that show, or even don't they have a Magic Mike show in Vegas?
Yes,
I want to see that.
they do.
But I would appreciate the art of it or whatever in that respect. But like strong dancers, like I'm just like, get it.
She appreciates the art of a purple thong. Don't lie.
No, not in a no, I wouldn't.
No.
No, I'm gonna be honest. Not even if in the most masculine man, I would not. I don't need to be.
I used to dance with somebody who wore a purple thong. He'd be so excited when he wore it too.
That's great. I'm just saying, for me personally, that wouldn't do anything for me.
You.
Yeah.
Oh my God, though. Speaking of dance and having the shits.
That was the last question, but now we're back.
I remember this one time.
We've made a return.
We did this show. I'm so sorry, guys. It's worth telling. Okay.
Yes,
so
please.
I did this show at the Golden Nugget, which is a hotel in Vegas. It was a Christmas extravaganza, and we were in this really tight triangular formation doing some like Janet Jackson breakdown, like ta 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 ta. And as I'm ta ta taing, I'm like, something don't smell right. It wasn't me. Oh, let's just first put it out there. It wasn't me, but it just got worse and worse.
Oh, no.
I was like, oh my God. And we were so tightly packed in our formation. And as soon as our set was done, literally I turned around and be like, did you guys smell that? And then I saw this one boy go like hauling ass. And I was like, oh, okay. I knew where that came from.
That sucks.
Okay,
all right. Yeah,
next card. Sorry. Never have I ever entertained flirting with a committed man.
Oh. Never have I ever entertained.
So you knew he had a girl, but you're like, he's still fine. Mm-hmm. I mean, I used to work at a nightclub in Vegas, and there was a dude that I would talk to all the time, but he was going through a divorce, and he got divorced. So I don't know if that counts as committed man.
I would probably say, I think I'd say it doesn't count.
Yeah, they weren't
just
living
because
together.
they weren't together and you knew that, and yeah.
Okay, so then I'm not shady. Okay,
yeah.
Next
I would say no, and I 100% no.
Okay.
Never have I ever been cheated on or have cheated. No. Thank goodness. I mean, I guess no. I've never been cheated on that I know of, and absolutely hard no, never cheated. What about you? Do you know?
I mean,
I guess you wouldn't.
No, but I mean, I thought about the fact that maybe my ex did. Our relationship was kind of ending anyway, but it was really weird because he moved from LA back home to Vegas, and ended up meeting up with this chick like midway point, driving. His friends came to pick him up, and then 2 weeks later, they were in a relationship, and I was like, well, good for you. I don't care. Like, I don't care. But then they ended up getting married, and I was like, okay, so hold on, like how. Were you talking to her while we were still?
Yeah. And that actually brings up a good topic, because I was actually talking about this the other day on because I have a boyfriend, and we have these cards that we do, and they're super super fun. And one of the cards talked about like lying and blah blah blah, and I brought up the topic of lying through omission, like and you know that's a big. I feel like it's not, but a lot of people make it a gray area,
right?
And I've had experiences in my past where people have left out vital, very important information because of whatever their excuses, reasons may be, but they felt like that I didn't need to know, or it was, I guess I'll say it felt more convenient to them for me not to know. And so, but had I had this information, that would have altered me staying with them or continuing the relationship, or a lot of things. So what is your feeling on that? Like, would you say omitting something that you know may affect the other person, would you consider that lying?
Yeah.
I'm
like, what are you omitting? Do you like,
right? But okay, and that's a great question, because that's what we talked about, my boyfriend and I, and I'm not saying you're omitting like something really general that like happened years ago that won't affect me, but if you're omitting huge pertinent, is that a pertinent information? Yeah, pertinent information that you know would affect, or maybe you don't. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you don't know, but it will affect how I feel about you, about us, about our future, that kind of stuff. Not in a little silly stuff.
No, I mean, I've had that happen to me multiple times.
Yeah, and I'm just like, that's so disrespectful, and it's so, I feel like it's manipulative. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna just say it. I think it's manipulative.
Very much manipulative. It's selfish. It's inconsiderate. It's hurtful. It's a lot of things. I've only been in 2 official relationships, and then everybody else that I've ever been involved with was usually dating. Mm-hmm. But even then, when you're dating somebody, I don't think that gives you permission to leave things out. And I have good guy friends that do that.
That's right.
That I know they're dating 2 different women, and I don't know these women, so it's not like I'm gonna call them up and be like, yo, blah 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 blah. But sorry, I just lost my train of thought here.
Yeah, but you're talking about the 2 guys and who were dating 2 different people.
Yeah, and totally. And it's like, you feel terrible because
yeah,
I know what it's like to be on that receiving end, but they're like, well, we're dating, so I don't have to tell her. No, you don't. But if you have any type of intimate relationship with her and her body is involved with your body, then you do owe it to her to be honest with her. And I mean, I've had someone, and it was one of those, like, the first person I really, really cared about, kind of left out the fact that, like, he was going to get married.
Oh, wow.
Like, I'd known him. I talked to him for a year and a half. He wasn't ready to settle down and blah, 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 because he just got out of a serious relationship. And I'm like, okay, I get that. And I was young, so you kind of accept things that you shouldn't accept when you're younger. When you really like someone, you're like, well, maybe if I hang around, you know, and I'm a good person, he'll see I'm a good person. Like, I think women are so guilty of that. Like, we know we're good people. We just need the other person to see that, so we hang around. And I was not a very trusting person when it came to being physically intimate with people, just due to some past situations. So when I finally did make the choice to be like, okay, like, things feel right, we're just gonna go ahead and be intimate or whatever, literally within the next 2 days, I was like, yo, I haven't heard from you, what's going on? So I need to tell you something. He called me and I was like, just so you know, like, so Linda and I are getting married on Monday. And I was like, I'm sorry, you said what?
Yeah.
And that broke my heart. Like, I cried so much. And on top of that, I danced with this person. So I had to see this person 3 days a week because we danced in a company together. His wife, which was his ex-girlfriend that he was only marrying for, like, legal reasons, doesn't matter, was now in the company too. So for 3 days a week, I had to put a smile on my face and dance with these 2 people. This one woman had no idea that I had any relationship with her now husband. Wow. And then I have to watch them be happy and just smile and dance and be like, it's okay, this doesn't hurt my feelings at all.
Wow. Ugh, that's deep. A big one. Yeah, no, that's deep. And okay, so a couple things though while you were talking that I was thinking is, I will say that especially in the dating world, and you've been out of it for a while, but having recently been in the dating world, now, right, was very, and it might have been popular back in the day, but I didn't know. But the whole non-monogamous situation, that's huge. The being very open about dating multiple people, that's huge and very common and celebrated. Like, it's something that people do and talk about, and again, it's kind of exactly what you said. As long as everybody's honest and they're on the same page, and it's like, we're, non-exclusive, we're still dating, da 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 da, like, as that's all good. But if that dynamic changes for you, or something, like you're gonna get married to somebody else,
I think you kind of knew that. I think you kind of knew that.
Or you're having feelings or for somebody else that are stronger, or the relationship is evolving with this other person quicker, or whatever, like that, those things need to be talked about. Like, that's omission. That goes to the selfish blah 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 thing. But I just wanted to add in there that, like, sure, again, we're not saying that when you're dating, we know that dating doesn't mean exclusive unless you had that conversation. We're very much aware.
Right. But I do think for safety, sexual reasons, like, if you are, well, first of all, if you're having unprotected sex.
But what I was going to say, some people are okay with that. Like, I know, I know of people who have been in the dating world who have been open and honest and are having sexual relationships with multiple people, and everybody's aware, but everybody's okay. So that's
they're aware. But I'm saying, if you were not aware, that's not an omission thing. Or I'm like,
no, that's whack. Yeah. That's so wrong. And then even going to just the whole, like, cheated on and just lied to in general. I had a really, and I've talked to you about this, but like, and I'm not going to get into specifics, but when things like that happen to you, especially when you're so young, or like somebody lies to you about something, like to your face, like that trauma doesn't leave you, right? And at least for me specifically, and I'm just going to talk for me specifically, there's something that happened specifically in my life when I was a lot younger that just never, like, I didn't forget that. And so that definitely affected my relationships. And then even in my past relationships, I feel like there's a lot of omission that was hard to get over, especially starting to date again and feel like I have to trust a stranger. Like, I knew these people for years, and they weren't completely honest or had omitted very important information. And now I'm supposed to trust everything you're telling me, and I don't know you. Like, that's so hard. Mm-hmm. And obviously that goes into, like, that you need to go to therapy. You need to, like, have some time alone. You need to have your own healing situation, which I did. But I wonder, and I'd love to get Maddie's opinion on this too, on like how long, and okay, and here's, because I heard, like, when you break up or you've gone through a traumatic situation, it takes double the time that you were in that relationship or went through that thing to heal from it. I wonder if that's, like, true, or
I don't know.
Anyway, I heard that, and I remember when a certain thing happened in my life, I was like, dang, that was a long time. I was like, it's gonna take forever to heal from this, and it didn't, luckily. Yeah, like, have you had that, like, or do you still carry that situation or that distrust maybe with you?
Yeah, I think so, but not to the point, like, I'm not a jealous crazy person. Like, sure. That's also an issue in its own right. Like, the men or women who are so insanely jealous that they get very possessive, or the people who, it's so interesting to me, and this is on topic but off topic, when you have couples that are so combative that they'll throw things at each other, and I'm not that person. My version of jealousy is usually internal, and I'll hurt more than the other person. Like, I'm not gonna go out and be like, rah, 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 rah. Instead, I'll go be by myself and cry about it, get upset about it, and then neutralize and then go back to whatever. But I'm trying to think of, like, after that one person going into my next relationship, I didn't think that, like, into the next, I didn't take what happened
That's
in the
good.
past guy to the next guy.
How long were those apart from that one to the next?
You know, and here's what's crazy about that is, gosh, how long was it? Maybe a year, but again, I was still around that person always because I was dancing with this company up until I moved to LA. And when I moved to LA, it was with my ex.
Got it.
Like, we had started dating maybe 3 months in, and he's like, "Oh, I'll go with you to LA." I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay." And I never had any question, because I also think the jealousy thing comes from your relationship with your partner, and not that it's their responsibility to make you feel secure, but you should make each other feel wanted enough to where you're not wondering why this person is out until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But I've had distrust issues with a person, and still being involved with that person, occasionally have feelings come up that I have to try to control, because the urge is to instinctively be like, what's happening? What's happening?
Yeah.
Am I being made a fool again? Am I being made a fool?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so that's actually really interesting. Let me adjust that you say that, because I wonder too, especially, and I'm just going to say as women because we're women, and I feel like we have really good instincts. I'll speak for myself, actually. I know I have really, really good instincts, and everything that I've ever, I don't know, I've been right. And that's gotten better as I've gotten older, and obviously through experience.
Right.
And in hindsight's 2020, right? With all the things that I've said, that like the omission and the whatever, none of it was all a great surprise. Yeah. So, because actually one of them, the one when I was a little kid, that one was the greatest surprise. That one was, I would say, a surprise, but it actually didn't directly involve me. But the other ones weren't. So anyway, when you were saying that, I would just say, trust your instincts. Like, listen to that little voice, like that voice that sits with you in silence. I feel like is so powerful. And you meditate, right? Mm-hmm. I think you have a very powerful voice. I don't know. I just needed to say that.
But you know what? Here's what's challenging for me is that I know that my feelings get hurt very easily, whether it be within my relationship or out of my relationship. So something can happen.
Which is great self-awareness, which a lot of people don't have.
It's good self-awareness, and then you just have to train yourself how to work with it.
Sure. Yeah, but some people, I don't know a lot of people who can be like, I know this negative thing about myself that I need to work on. I mean, there are, I think, and I think now in this, go to therapy, talk about it, be honest. I feel like more people are being more comfortable with that. But anyway, I just want to point that out, that I think that's good that you're self-aware and can look at yourself and be like, all right, girl, now you do this, like,
yeah,
try to tap into, are these voices or these voices or
well, and with a lot of situations, so for example, something can happen and immediately, and I think we all do this, like we get our feelings hurt and then we react. Mm-hmm. And I've always been one to stop and think about it before I react, which sometimes benefits me and sometimes doesn't, because I cool down so much that when I should be mad at somebody, I'm not, because I've already taken the time to cool down. So maybe I seem like the type of person that you can take advantage of. But on the other end of the spectrum, if I know I take things personally and I get my feelings hurt, sometimes it's good to stop and pause. I had gotten an email from somebody, and I made sure to read it 3 times before I responded, and it still read to me the same way. And I was like, well, that's fucked up, And I responded professionally, and that was that. And then I went into my email box because I was like, well, this person never responded to me. And I was like, oh, it didn't send. Huh. And then I went back for shiggles, and I was like, let me read his first initial email. And I was like, oh, wait. No, he wasn't shutting me down or my idea down. He was just saying, hold on. Got it. Let me redraft an email response to him.
Thank you, email gods.
So in that sense, it works out. But yeah, in terms of like relationship-wise, I think that sometimes I'll come in hot with a feeling, and I won't react, and maybe I should. This is turning into a tangent. But anyway.
No, I guess in general, what I'm curious about is, and why I love that we have Maddie, is when do you know, and I'm obviously a professional. Oops, hit the mic. When do you know when when you've healed from something, or when you still need some more work? And then okay, this is another thing right now, what's so popular, and I'm all for it, but I also get a little like, ugh, you know, it's a little like cringy in the ear, like, just do the work, I'm doing the work, are you doing the work? Like, I can't, like, and it's so funny because I follow all those accounts and I love them, and I love quotes, I post them all the time, so you guys are gonna be like, bitch, that's you. But the only reason I bring that up is because it's just like, okay, like, I get that, like, do the work, but it's like, what's the work? Like, and how do you know if you know what I mean? Like, I think if you're professing all this work that you're doing, then it's just like,
you're busy professing, go do the work.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
don't talk about it, be about it.
Yeah, a little bit. Obviously, if that's your line of work or if that's your focus, and, you know, whatever, I understand. But I always wonder about that too. I was just like, have you done the work? It's like,
right. But I love that you said awareness too, because I think a lot of people don't have self-awareness.
Yeah.
And it's always interesting to, whether it be in a relationship or with your friends, when you do start doing internal work on healing yourself and becoming aware of your own behaviors, making adjustments, but then you start becoming aware of other people's behaviors, and you're like, oh, so at what point do you chime in, and what point do you say, let them live their life?
I think what's awesome, and especially just speaking from experience of just when I got back into the dating world, and self-awareness is far and few between. Like, not a lot of people are super self-aware, and when they are, it was so refreshing, and I felt like I gave those men more of a chance or more dates than some of them maybe should have gotten because of other reasons that, you know. But I love that about anybody, and in my friendships, and when I was in the dating scene, like, I think that is, and men who can communicate, like, I just, and who accept, just constructive criticism, or just even like just talking, or who are vulnerable, all those things. There's not a lot of people our age out there. No. At least the ones, I'm just gonna, you know, I'm only talking about my little experience. So seeing that in people really made them stand out, especially in a man our age, which is like, kudos to you men out there who are doing the work, no, who are just, you know, are self-aware and can talk about things and understand, like, oh, I went through this and this and this, can share that and say, like, and it made me this and this and this, and have those conversations. Like, I love that.
I had an interesting experience, not to like put anybody on blast, I'm definitely not going to say their name, but going back to the whole, have you ever been cheated on or cheated? That is not just, and I'm sure Maddie would agree, that's not just a thing where I'm with Val and she's not doing enough for me, so I'm going to go out and I'm going to cheat on her. That has to do with your own internal as well, need for validation. So I know somebody who, and it didn't hit him till he's clear into his 40s, where he had an experience as a young person with women going a little too far with him because he had an older brother brought these older women around him, and he would often be molested. But then he grew to understand that type of attention he was told was positive, and he was like getting it and blah blah blah. That's so true. Then as an adult, he constantly needed attention from women. You know, and he just without any sense. And I say that meaning like he'll go sleep with her and go tell her she's great and go sleep with her. But it's because he's getting a high, microphone. He was getting a high off of feeling validated, because he wasn't getting that from mom or dad or brothers or sister. He was only getting it from the women who were touching him. Yeah. And now as an adult, I'm like, isn't that weird how now you're kind of like a player? It's so weird.
And can we talk about the double standard too, of just like, if a man is dating or seeing a lot of women, or has been very promiscuous growing up, that's because that's what men do. But then if a woman does it, or if a man hears that a woman has experienced all the things and has had her fun, or X amount of, lovers or whatever, then she's a hoe.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's so annoying. And I'm like the farthest from that person.
Right.
But for those women out there who've had the fun, like,
You express yourself, girl.
yeah, I mean, it's like, it is what it is.
That leads me to think, and we'll probably have to cut away to Maddie soon, but
yeah.
I remember being in this dance studio once and having a conversation in a rehearsal, and there was this guy and I was friends with everybody, and he was like, I could never ever date a girl that was involved with person A, and person A is the person that I told you that got married.
Gotcha.
And I was like, okay, so I'm the ass. Not that I'm trying to be with him, but he was like, any girl
He
who
just
got
made assumptions,
he was like, any girl that's ever gotten with person A is a moron, because everyone knows person A is blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well, actually, I didn't. And actually, person A is very charming, and person A will make you feel like you're the only person in the room, in the world, and tell you all these things. And
I feel like there's going to be a lot of people listening who can relate to person A. I am person A, or I have been seduced by person A.
Yeah, no, because some people
we all know person A.
Yeah, like
we know them.
Charming.
Know you.
Yeah. I mean, again, and you're young, and I had not had very much experience with dudes, so I was very naive. But I felt so, not small in that moment, but just like an idiot, for him to be like, I would never.
Yeah, and whatever. Again, okay. Like you said, you were young, but yeah, I it's so interesting how those, again, going back, what started the whole topic of just like lying and being betrayed in general, how I feel like a little bit, as much time as I've had alone, as much healing as I've done, I feel like that, and hopefully not, but there's a little bit of that I feel like will stay back here.
Oh yeah.
And that's it's triggering. It's triggering, and it sucks with the depth of my soul, of just like, dang. And I mean, I have a really close girlfriend of mine going through some betrayal type stuff right now, and just hearing it happening to people who are close to you, that's
right. And then sometimes also too, it's like when the dude just owns it and he's like, yeah, well, so, you know what I mean? I don't know, I just lost my train of thought there, but
yeah. Anyway, let's
cut away to Maddie and see his
I'm
thoughts and
so
perspectives
interested
on the whole chitty weedy thing. I just made up my new word. Okay, Matt.
Thank you.
Sugars, this is a big one, because a lot of people do think that if you're just withholding a bit of information, that you're not actually lying. But especially in a committed relationship where there's the trust, that is the main, I think, tenet. One of the foundations of a committed relationship is the trust you have with one another. And girl, if they're lying about the little things, I bet your ass they're lying about the big things too. So, and from personal experience and also from clinical experience. But what's the worst thing about betrayal is truly the lack of trust, or the loss of trust in ourselves. And this idea that you can't trust your own intuition. You can't trust your own judgment. And something that's helped my own therapist and also studying is when people lie to you, we often feel like, well, how could I not see the whole picture? Some of my friends saw the picture. How could I not see that? That's because the person that was lying to you only showed you what they wanted you to see. Listen to that again. The person that was lying to you only showed you what they wanted you to see. So things like shame and guilt, you can tell those things to go take a hike, because those are not going to be helpful right now in you developing trust within yourself. What are great things is you spending time with yourself, you nurturing the friendships and the relationships that give back to you, where you feel like you can have honest feedback and honest conversations. And it takes time, but it's also really great to write down what what makes a trustworthy person for you, because this stuff gets in our head. And when you write out, okay, this is a list of someone who is trustworthy to me, then you literally have a list of what you can focus on and go to. Because I agree. I don't know if it ever goes away. This, when you lose that trust in yourself, there's always that part of you in the back of your head that goes, what if? And from talking to a lot of people that have been cheated on or lied to, and just self-experience, I don't think that ever goes away. I think it is grieving the innocence that we lost, because we are a different person. I think people are, it's like, it is a death. It is a death of a relationship, and is a death of, what does Oprah say? Forgiveness isn't about the other person. Forgiveness is letting go of the idea that what happened could have been any different. And this idea that we think we could have done it differently, this coulda, this shoulda, we're shooting on ourselves. And so let's just be present-minded, not even too future, really present-minded about what do we trust, what do we believe in, and what gives us happiness now. Woo! We went to church a little bit. Hope you didn't. I brought up Oprah. Anyway, all right, y'all. Love y'all. Bye.
Okay, so I'm going to start this one off.
Yeah.
I love what Maddie said about learning to rebuild and trust in yourself again. Mm-hmm. Because also, too, when you get played by somebody, the first person you blame outside of them is yourself.
Yeah.
How did I not see that one coming?
I missed all the red flags.
Why did I make excuses for them? And it's like, you also have to forgive yourself. Mm-hmm. You didn't know. Like, for me, like, I have rose-colored glasses, and I want to see the best in people.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, I think through time, and what I loved that he said, one, that he was so vulnerable and shared a little bit about his experience, but two, is he was like, whether it's going to take a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever that time takes for you to kind of build that again, to be able to trust yourself, is so important. Because now, even just for myself, being on the other end of that is healing enough to know that, right? And to trust, and also to know your self-worth enough to establish the right boundaries, so that anytime, so you won't even entertain anything that isn't what you want and what you expect and what you're worth. And some of these words can sound like entitlement, but it doesn't come from that, and it doesn't come from like this air of like, I am better than thou. Nothing like that. Like, obviously you give what, like, hopefully you're giving somebody else what you want back, right? Like, I want the honesty, I want the trust, I want all this love, I want the attention, I want the gifts, I want the dates. Like, hopefully you're investing that, all of that, and that's what you receive, right? But I think, at least for me, after the dating process and after everything that I've went through, and because I've talked to you about this, like, and to where I am at right now in today, and he talked about, like, being present and then being aware of what's happening in front of you, and that could have been a tangent too that he was going on, but you realize so much quicker what's for you and what's not. Mm-hmm. I think after you've had enough space away from that trauma or whatever happened. Mm-hmm.
And I will say this, you're very good about having certain standards and not accepting anything less. And as soon as you realize you're getting less, you're like, deuces.
Yeah. It's gotten better. Like, it's been a process, and it's something that, especially in my last long relationship, there was, it was nothing horrible, but it wasn't great, and it wasn't what I wanted. And for me, that's, we're not getting any younger. Life is super short, and I just feel like after a while you have to know that you're worth it, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, and of course sometimes it's harder to leave a situation or leave somebody that you still love, mm-hmm. right? And who hasn't done anything necessarily huge that's wrong. They're just not enough. It's just not enough. That's very difficult. That was very difficult for me. But but then getting back into the dating world, and you learn, and then and you know what, and this is what I want to say, because it goes with this episode. It's like, don't settle, because everything that you want and that person that you think doesn't really exist, they freaking do. They exist, and they're gonna give you all the things that you would put into a relationship. They're there. They're out there. You just have to be patient. You have to do the healing that Maddie says, however long it freaking takes. But just wait. You know, and learn about, and date and learn about yourself throughout the process. But exactly what you said. But if you're not finding it, if they're not it, don't waste your time. Like, just wait. Because he or she, they, all, whatever pronoun it is, you know, to be inclusive, will come.
Well, on that note, amazing advice. I think it's time we call it a day.
Let's call it a day.
All right. So you guys, thank you so much for joining us. As always, you can find us on Patreon and all the things, social media. We've enjoyed talking with you today, and we will see you next time.
Adios.
Adios.